Today we're going to be looking at a Google search tool called Insights. Now this tool is going to be primarily for those of you who teach secondary or upper middle school students, and it focuses a lot on statistics over time. The website that we want to go to is google.com/insights/search. Insights is currently in beta, which means it is a work in progress, but it is working fairly well. In your search term, you're going to type in what you're looking for. Down here it gives you some examples of different things that you could search for if you were interested in them. I've got a few examples that I would like to look at. Let's start off by looking at flu diagnosis. We all know that the flu's been in the news a lot lately, but the graph that it's going to show us will give us more information about just how much it has been in the news. As you can see here on this chart, flu usually goes up in January or February, then cuts off during the summer years, goes back up again December, January, and then goes back down. And you see a pretty constant progression until you get to 2009. And if you remember anything about 2009, you probably remember the swine flu. And there we see a jump. You'll also notice these little letters here represent news stories and different examples of why things are jumping. And here are a couple different examples that it puts on here for us. So we can see G, where it jumped right here, is the swine flu. Let's try another example. Let's use sales figures. Again, it puts the data into a chart that shows us what the sales figures generally have been. If we scroll down, we can actually see where it's pulling this information from and what kind of information it's using to make that chart. Above the chart, it also shows us which categories it's using. So it's using games, automotive, entertainment, industries, and so forth to decide where all of this information is. Let's say that we were only interested in looking at the figures from the United States. If you click on United States, it takes all of that information out from other countries. It also breaks it down by state for you, so you can see which states it's pulling the information from. And then you can take a look at the sales figures just in the United States. You'll notice that this particular graph does not have the news headlines on. If you want to add them, just click News Headlines, and it puts them back in. Let's do one more search as an example. Since I am living in Florida, I'm interested in hurricanes. And I'm going to leave this currently set at United States from when I was in sales figures, so I want to leave it in United States. And look at that. You can see that 2004 was a very active year, 2005 as well, but not quite as much. And then since then, it's kind of died down quite a bit. It also tries to make some predictions about what might happen in the future. Bear in mind that Google is not a fortune teller. It is good at organizing information but not predicting the future, so this information probably won't be exactly correct. There's another interesting thing on this page that you should pay attention to. Look at here where it tells us what categories it's pulling from. Sports. Now, some people may care about the Hurricanes. I think it's a hockey team. I really don't care about that in this particular graph. So having sports as a category doesn't really help me, and it could skew my data. So up here in the filter, I can actually choose where I want it to pull the information from. So instead of letting it automatically choose, I'm going to come down here and tell it that I only want news and current events. Then I'm going to scroll over and hit that search button again. And it'll redraw my graph, taking all of the sports information out of there and just leaving me with the news information, which is more applicable to my particular search. And you'll notice that it's a little bit different, but in general, it's pretty much the same type of a shape in the graph. So this could be very helpful for you as you work with your students in trying to look at statistics and get a quick glance at how things have changed over time. Hope that helps.